Hello students, a very good morning. So in yesterday class we were discussing the MCQ questions based on the chapter current electricity. So the number of questions we have seen there for a number of topics. So let's again discuss the questions from the same chapter as this is the date of party now. So let's now discuss questions. So first question that I am going to take today, this is 3 bulbs of 40 watt, 60 watt and 100 watt are arranged in series with 220 volt. So try to just listen the question, you can note also. So here 3 bulbs are given that has powers 40 watt, 60 watt and 100 watts, and they are arranged in series with the 220 volt supply. Then which bulb has minimum resistance? So now you will see as bulbs are arranged in series, then current through the each bulb will be same. Obviously you know in series combination current is always same. So here as we know the power that is given by I square R. So from this concept, as I is same in all 3 bulbs, then power is directly proportional to resistance, and as resistance is now you can see lower the power, then lower will be the resistance. So we have to find out which bulb has minimum resistance. So as bulb has power 40 watt, 60 watt and 100 watt. So the first bulb has the minimum power, that is 40 watt, then that will have the minimum resistance. So our answer is correct for the 40 watt bulb here. This is very basic concept that we can use now. Now the next question is the measurement of voltmeter in the following circuit is. So we have to find out what is the measurement of voltmeter, and here circuit is given, a potential source is connected now and 2 of the resistances are connected. So here the combination of 2 resistors are given, and now here a voltmeter we are connected just here, and now the potential is given, that is equal to 6 volt. The resistances are given here 60 ohm and 40 ohm resistances are given. Now we have to find out what will be the potential that is measured by the you can say voltmeter. So as you can see no potential drop is going to be across this voltmeter, or going to be the across the points of voltmeter, because these 2 potentials are in parallel combination, resistances are in parallel combination. So potential applied to these resistance, that will be also same. So it means this will be obviously the same potential that is equal to the battery. So this voltmeter will not measure anything different. It will measure the same potential that is applied across these resistors here. So that is connected through this voltmeter. So simple, here you can see between the voltmeter points, these 2 points, as no other potential drop we can see. So 6 volt potential is here. So the answer of the measurement of voltmeter is 6 volt. Now let's see the next question. So next question is the potentiometer consists of wire of length 4 meter and resistance 10 ohm. It is connected to a cell of EMF 2 volt. Then potential difference per unit length of the wire will be. So here in this question, let's see first of all what is the things that are given to us. So potential is given here, or EMF actually is given 2 volt, resistance is given 10 ohm, and the length of the wire is given 4 meter. Then we have to find out the potential gradient exactly. Potential difference per unit length, you know, it is known as potential gradient. So on potential gradient, this is now it as equal to potential per unit length of the wire, and the potential is given here, that is equal to EMF of the battery, that is 2 volt, and length of the wire is given 4 meter. So if you will solve, then the potential gradient is obtained as 0.5 volt per meter. So this is answer of our question. So these are very basic questions that you have just you can see, and these are very important questions as in MCQ format. Next question is, in the given figure, calculate the equivalent resistance between point P and Q. So let's draw the figure first. The combination of resistors are given to us. So here this is now our point P and this is our point Q. This is 3 ohm resistor, 6 ohm resistor, 4 ohm resistor, and then this one is 8 ohm. This is R, this is L. So we have to find out equivalent resistance between P and Q. So you can see simply this is Wheatstone bridge. So in balanced condition, as in Wheatstone bridge, no current is passing through this arm RS. So that time you can neglect or you can just remove this resistance from here, because that will behave just like the simple wire. There will not flow any of the current through that one. So in that case, these two resistors will be in series. Now these two resistors will be in series, and again they will be in parallel combination. So let's solve this one. So between P and Q, this one we can make draw this the figure of this one by the solution. This is now. This is our point P, this is Q. Now these two resistors are combined in series combination. Then for series, you know, resistances are combined by the formula R is equal to R1 plus R2. So this will be now 7. Similarly here, these will be again combined by the resistances. So in series, then this is 8, 6, that will be now 14. So here two things we have given now, and now you can see these two resistors 7 ohm and 14 ohm. They are connected in parallel combination. So equivalent resistance between point PQ, this will be now by the formula it is R1 R2 upon R1 plus R2. So R1 plus R2 if you will do, this will be now 21, and you can cut it, this will be now 3. So this will be 14 upon 3, and now if you will solve this 14 by 3, you can find out the value of the equivalent resistance in the option. Now again the next question is a 100 watt 220 volt bulb is connected to a 160 volt supply. So the actual power consumption would be. So here it is given in our question 100 watt bulb. Suppose this is our bulb. This one is that is connected to a 160 volt supply. So this is 160 volt supply, and this bulb has power 100 watt and 200 volt. So we have to find out what will be the power consumption. So you know that the power consumption in the bulb, that is given by V square by R. So we can use this formula for the power consumption now. So if you will use, then V has the value 200 volt and so from here, first what we can do, this is the power consumption in bulb, then we can find out what is the resistance of the bulb. So let's find out the resistance of bulb by this formula. So resistance of bulb is given by P, that is power of the bulb 100, exactly it will not be P, so this will be V square. So V square is 200 into now 200 upon this P, this is 100 watt. And if you will solve it, then this is obtained as 400 ohm. So this is the 400 ohm is the resistance of the bulb now. Now as this resistance is connected with this power supply, then you know that in the power supply, the power consumption that is given by again V square by R. So in this case, V is given for the system, that is, or for the circuit 160, and R we have just now written, that is now 400. So these two zeros you can cut from here, you can just cut this one. So finally we have obtained 64 watt power that is consumed in our circuit by the bulb here. So this question is, I think, now clear. Now let's see the next question. Next question is, the practical units of resistance is ohm, and 1 ohm is equal to, here options I will just read for you. Options are given: 10 to the power 18 EMU, 10 power 9 EMU, 10 power 15 EMU, and none of these. So how can you find out this one exactly? Then we know that 1 ohm resistance is given as 1 volt per 1 ampere current, V by I. Now you can write down 1 volt in the terms of EMU. So this is equal to 10 to the power 8 EMU of potential, and now if you will write the current, then it is equal to 10 to the power minus 1 EMU of current. So in the case terms of EMU unit, you can convert it. Now if you will solve, then you can find out 1 ohm resistance is equal to 10 to the power 9 EMU. So this is the conversion of actually units into each other that we have written now. So EMU units actually, when we are using when we have very small value of resistance, then that time we are using this one. Now next question is, Kirchhoff's first and second law are based on the conservation of. Options are given. First option is energy and charge respectively. Second option is charge and energy respectively. Third option is mass and charge respectively. And fourth option is none of these. So as you know, Kirchhoff's first law is what? That is the junction rule. And junction rule is for what? That is for the current. Means all the currents that will enter to the junction, that will be equal to current leaving the junction. So it means that we are talking for the conservation of charge there. So whatever the charges will enter, they will leave from there. So the Kirchhoff's first law is the conservation of charge. Now Kirchhoff's second law is what? Second law tells us the potential that is applied to any circuit, that will be distributed among all the components. Means here we are talking for the conservation of energy. Whatever the electric energy we will supply to the circuit, that all energy will be utilized in our circuit. So it means that Kirchhoff's second law is the conservation of energy. First law is the conservation of charge. Next question is, Ohm's law is not obeyed by. So here we have some of the options: electrolytes, discharge tube, vacuum tube, and all of the above. So here in this case, if you will see, the Ohm's law that is obeyed by electrolytes, because in electrolytic solutions Ohm's law is completely obeyed. Second one, in discharge tubes. So in discharge tubes also Ohm's law is used, Ohm's laws are obeyed. But if you will just see the example of vacuum tubes. So exactly, vacuum tubes are based on semiconductor devices, and semiconductor devices that are non-linear device, for which current is not directly proportional to potential. So it means that in semiconductor device, in vacuum tube, it does not obey the Ohm's law. So our third option is correct. Don't think all of the above are correct, only third option is correct. Now let's see the next question. Again, this is numerical. A wire is cut into 4 pieces which are put together by side to obtain one conductor. So if the original resistance of wire was R, then the resistance of the bundles will be now. So here suppose we have a wire, and this wire now this has been cut into 4 pieces. So we have cut into the 4 pieces, and then again we have joined this one. So before cutting, its resistance was given, that was capital R. Then we have to find out what will be the new resistance. Then you know, whenever we will cut the wire and an unequal cut we are doing, then the length of each wire will be, if length of the wire, suppose before cutting the length of the wire was L, then now length will be equal to L by 4. So each length will be equal to L by 4. But as material of the wire is not changed, then material will be, you can say specific resistance will be as it is same, and area is not changing, then area will be same here. Now we can write the resistances of each wire. So only for one wire I am writing, because all have the same property. So suppose R1 is the resistance of first wire, so that resistance is, resistance is given rho L by 8. So rho L has value L by 4, then upon 8. So you can write down it is 1 by 4 of rho L upon 8. And rho L by A is what? This is the resistance of original wire that has length L, area A, and rho is the specific resistance. So this will be 1 by 4 times R now. So if we have 1 by 4 times R now, then what are the final things we will have? We have to find out the final resistance of the wire, means how many times it will be now. So as final one wire has resistance this one, now we are connecting them in series. Then for the series combination, the equivalent resistance that should be that is equal to R is equal to, or R dash we can write, that should be equal to R1 plus R2 plus R3 plus now R4. So exactly you can now solve it and you can find out what will be the value of final equivalent resistance. So such types of questions are now I think clear by you students. And one more thing, I think new length that is clear, and new resistance already that is now clear. Next question, let's see. In the circuit shown below in figure, the potential difference between X and Y will be. So if we will have the circuit, that is now, here 2 points are given, X and Y, and now X and Y are connected by a battery of 120 volt. Here the resistance is given 40 ohm, and now again a resistor we have used, that is 20 ohm. So this is the circuit that is given to us. What we have to find out? We have to find out the potential difference between X and Y. So at point X and Y, you can see now the circuit is open. So if circuit will be open, then that time no current will flow through it, and if no current will flow through it, then that time this 120 volt will be applied here and 120 volt will be applied at this point also. So the potential difference between X and Y will not change as circuit is not completed, current is not flowing. So but potential difference will be at between these two wires, and that will be equal to 120 volt. So it means that the potential difference is equal to now 120 volt. So I think such kind of questions are clear to you. Next question is again it is theoretical question. If length of the wire is doubled, then its conductance will. Here options are given: remains unchanged, be half, be doubled, be quadruple. So it means that if you will just change the length of the wire, then you know by changing the length, resistance will be what? As R is equal to rho L by A. So if length will be now, we are just doing the length doubled, so resistance will also double there. That time resistance will be doubled, and if resistance will be doubled, then you know conductance is reciprocal of resistance. So as conductance is reciprocal of resistance 1 by R, so that will be equal to 1 upon 2 times R. So we can write down the conductance is given by 1 by 2 of sigma, if sigma is the conductance before. So it means conductance will be just half the before value. So it will be just half. Next question is the physical quantity having the dimension. Dimension is given, let me write just to you. Now the dimension, you can see this is given m minus 1, L minus 3, T cube and A square. So this is the dimension that is given to us. We have to just write down which of the quantity it is. So first of all, let's see which of the dimension it can be. So for the dimension, you can use you can convert this all into the units, and for that unit as it will be now. It's directly I am writing thus conductivity, you know, that is given by Ne squared tau upon m. Now you can write down the all the units of this one, and let's see whether it is equal to this one or not. So for this one, as n is what? N is the number of electrons, so that will not have any unit. And electronic charge. So electronic charge E will have the unit, that is AT. Next one, so if tau, you will see its dimensional formula. Tau has that is relaxation time. It has dimension formula equal to the formula of time. Now next one, if you will see, actually small n is what? This is number of electrons per unit volume. So number of electrons per unit volume, it will have some of the units also. So its unit will be L power minus 3. And the last one, here this mass, you know, mass has the unit, this is n dimension. Now let's put all these values here in this equation. So if we will put, then we will obtain now L minus 3, then E square means A square T square, tau will have again T, so it will be now T cube, and M has M, then this will be M minus 1. You can see now, this is just the same equation that is given in our question. So it means that the dimension is given to us, that is the dimension of conductivity exactly. So that you can just write down by even first finding the unit, or by just to understand or practice, you can understand this kind of derivations. So the better way is to write the units by using the dimensions. Now next question, let's see. A battery of EMF 10 volt and internal resistance 3 ohm is connected to a resistor. So the current in the circuit is 0.5 ampere. So the terminal potentials of the battery when the circuit is closed. So we have to find out the terminal potential. You know, terminal potential is related to the EMF by the formula V is equal to E minus IR, where I is the current flowing through the cell and R is the internal resistance. So all the values are given in our question. So let's write down the values as the EMF of the battery is given 10, the current in the circuit is given 0.5, and internal resistance is given 3 ohm. So if we will solve this one, then this is obtained 1.5, and finally if you will solve, then you will obtain the terminal potential across the battery, that is equal to 8.5 volt. Now let's see the next question, that is related to the galvanometer now. So here question is, a galvanometer coil has a resistance of 150 ohm, gives full scale deflection for a current of 4 milliampere. So to convert it in an ammeter of range 0 to 6 ampere. So some of the options are given. So first question is, I think now clear. Galvanometer has resistance that is equal to 150 ohm, and it is giving the full scale deflection for the current 4 milliampere. So it means galvanometer is very sensitive for 4 milliampere current, and if we have to convert into the ammeter for the range 0 to 6 ampere, then what we have to do? Question and answer options are given. 10 milliampere resistance to be connected in parallel to the galvanometer. Second option, 10 milliohm 10 milliohm resistance is to be connected in series with the galvanometer. 0.1 ohm resistance is to be connected in parallel to the galvanometer, and 0.1 ohm resistance to be connected in series with the galvanometer. So first, as students, you know, to convert the galvanometer into ammeter, we always connect a low resistance wire in parallel to the you can say galvanometer. So if we will connect the very high resistance wire, then most of the voltage will be dropped and we cannot measure the current. So that's why very low resistance wire we are using in parallel combination of with. So first two options for the series, that will be automatically that not answered. But here two of the option are given, 0.1 ohm and 10 milliohm. Which of the option is correct for the parallel now? So for this one, as you know, formula for shunt that we are using to connect in ammeter or voltmeter, or to convert the galvanometer into ammeter or voltmeter, that is given by S is equal to IC, I minus IC into G, where IC is current in galvanometer, G is resistance of the galvanometer. So now as IC has value given, that is 4 milliampere. So if we will solve it, 4 into 10 to the power minus 3 you can write. Now I has value that is maximum value of current that can flow through the ammeter, that is 6 ampere. So you can just write down the value of 6 ampere. Then again you will write the IC value, that is 4 into 10 power minus 3 ampere. And now if Z has value, you will write, that is given in your question, but 50 ohm. And if you will solve this one, then it is obtained as 0.1 ohm. So as our option, you can say third is correct. 0.1 ohm resistance to be connected in parallel to the galvanometer to convert the galvanometer into ammeter of desired value of 6, you can say ampere range. Now let's see the next one. So next question is, the electron drift speed is small and the charge of the electron is also small, but still we obtain large current in conductor. This is due to, so as you know, electrons drifting speed, that is very small, and charge is also very small, 10 power minus 19, that is very small quantity. But here we are just understand, or we are obtaining a very large amount of current in conductor. What is the reason? So in answer, some of the options are given. First I will read the option, then I will discuss it. So the first option is the conducting property of the conductor. Due to this one we are getting conductivity. Second one, the resistance of the conductor is small. Third one, the electron number density of conductor is small. And the fourth one, the electron number density of the conductor is enormous. So as you know, in conductor the electron density is very high. For very small volume, a large number of electrons we will have for the conductor, and this is the reason behind the large conductivity of the conductor. So I think this is now clear why we are getting even pre-electron model I have told you. So by using that one, you can say a very enormous number of electrons we have, that's why we are getting the very high conductivity in conductors. Now the next question, student, is a 30 volt 90 watt lamp is to be operated on a 120 volt DC line. For proper glow, a resistor of dash 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 ohm should be connected in series with the lamp. So here in question we have to find out if we have to we have a proper glow of bulb, then what is the value of resistance that should be connected in series with the lamp. And the lamp has property, this is 30 volt and 90 watt, and now it is connected to 120 volt DC lines. Then we have to find out what will be the resistance now. So here in this case, first of all, you know, for the DC current, the power is given by P is equal to V into I. So from here you can find out the value of current that is flowing through our bulb. So that will be equal to 90 upon 30, means we will have 3 ampere current that is flowing. Now if we will find the resistance of the bulb. So as resistance of the bulb is given by P is equal to V square upon R. So from here, if R you will calculate, then R will be equal to V square, that is 30, to now 30 upon P, that is now 90. So you can see the value of R is obtained as 10 ohm. So this is the value of resistance that we have got for the bulb, and that is the value of current that we have got. Now if the bulb to be operate on 120 volt, then the required total resistance R1, suppose R1 is the resistance to maintain the current for the 3 ampere, can be calculated as now R1 is equal to V dash upon I. Because we are connecting the resistances in series, means the bulb and resistance in series, then current will be same, potential will be changed now. So we can now write down the values of potential. So as it has to be operate on the potential 120 volt, that is the potential of DC lines. So here it will be 120 volt and I as it is same, because for the proper glow of bulb we are connecting it in series, and in series current is the same. Now if you can solve it, and this is obtained as 40 ohm resistance of the resistor that we have connected to maintain this one. Now as you know, The final resistor that we have to connect, that should be this R1, that should be equal to R plus R dash. Now R is what? R is the resistance of bulb. So this is now 10, and total resistance to maintain this 3 ampere current by the supply, we need the resistance, that is 40. So 40 ohm is what? This is the resistance of the system, total system. Means after the connection of the bulb with the resistor, the total resistance would be 40 ohm. So here the resistance that we have connected in series with the bulb, that will have resistance R dash, and this can be calculated, and this will have the value that is equal to 30 ohm. So if we will connect 30 ohm resistance in series with the 10 ohm resistance of the bulb, then that time we will get 40 ohm resistance, and that 40 ohm resistance is enough to maintain this 3 ampere current for the proper glow of bulb for the DC line supply 120 volt. So students, with this problem, let's end our class here for today, as a number of problems we have solved for the current electricity. So I think now there is no doubt in this chapter. So let's end our class here.